sprite. He is using the water. Well, he's using one of the town lady sprites. It's great.
Just seeing it like stab forward is kind of silly, but
Yeah.
looks like we have ourselves an early palace.
Yeah, that was Palace 5. Yeah, nice. Nice to have you all back. Watching the race with us, everybody. Yeah, Kooky. Zelda 2 Randomizer is kind of crazy in a good way. It's definitely one of the most random randomizers that you'll see. It randomizes the overworld. It randomizes the layout of the dungeons. Of course, the enemies, drop tables, how strong each level is, what spells you get when. It's almost quicker to list what's not randomized. So,
Nothing?
yes, nothing.
Well, we see Trails picking up our first spell, Life, but Rose City Saint picking up what looked to be the hammer.
Yep, Kooky, it's a village person sprite, yes. Oh, hey. Hey, Dr. Nate. So I went over some of it just now. What gets randomized? We have, like, the effectiveness of each of the levels. We have the overworld. We have what tiles become what when you get random encounters on the overworld. The layout of the dungeons, the HP of the bosses. Yeah, almost everything. Oh, which spells are in which towns, what items are in what locations. It's pretty much as we can randomize.
Yeah, about the only thing that isn't randomized that I can think of is the bosses at the end of each palace.
Yeah.
You're always going to have the same boss at the end of this palace, which, hopefully we'll get right on that and fix that. So that way we could have, oh, hey, look, it's Boss Skooma in Palace 1. Have fun.
So how do you even prepare? You kind of don't. Like, you just have to... That's one of the really exciting things about Zelda 2 Randomizer, and I love playing this game because of it. You very much have to go with the flow. Yeah, you have to do your mental math on the fly. Like, instead of I got a Kakariko and then I do this, and then if I get this item I do this. You don't have that kind of flowchart ahead of time, so you're basically making that flowchart as you're playing. Fortunately, Zelda 2 is a simpler game than some other Zelda games, so it's not like overbearing or anything. It's actually super fun. Boss Rando win? Well, I don't think Dick Shake's watching right now. He's probably playing Dragon Quest 7. Alright, so we got Palace 3 or 6 on the coast. Victor Santa Fe just saw that. That is... you can't tell them apart until you actually go inside, but both of those palaces have 2 to 3 rooms that can require the glove. So they don't want to go into it without the glove, and they don't have any way of getting by the locked doors right now. So they'll need to find the magic key, get some key drops from enemies, if that's in the randomizer right now. Or they'll need to get the fairy spell to fly through locked doors before they actually go into the palaces. And we got the boots, yeah.
Yeah, Victor Santa Fe using the hammer and using it to great effect, finding a hammer-blocked cave. And the boots were behind it. Trails finding the cross.
Oh yeah, the cross. I mean, it's an item that most randomizer players don't really enjoy seeing. You want to see something more useful. You're not going to turn your nose up at it because it can be useful, especially in if you got more difficult flags turned on. But basically, what the cross does in Zelda 2 is it lets you see the invisible Moas on the other continent, and that's something that also doesn't get randomized. It's always the Moas that are invisible. There's not like random invisible enemies. Dig Shake might work on that at some point, but I think there's some technical reason why it's a little bit more difficult to randomize that. Oh, another thing that's randomized is which enemies are invulnerable to sword slashes. That's usually only on the Eastern Continent, or always only on the Eastern Continent. In the
Oh,
overworld.
Rose City Saint finding the starting palace and poking his head in there right quick. Probably lost track of that.
Well, actually, you'll see racers jump into palaces, caves, and towns that they visited before in order to reset the enemy encounters. So, like, the enemies will spawn and try to catch you and force you into an encounter after a certain amount of time. So if you go into a palace, even the starting palace, it restarts that timer, and so you can walk further more easily. There is randomization involved in just the patterns that the enemies walk. So a very good player who's skilled in these things, not me, can actually sort of make good guesses as to what the enemies are going to do when they're walking at them and try to avoid them that way. But it's still just a guess. I think there's a certain failure rate. So it's easier to just jump into a town or a cave or something and head right back out.
Well, out of all of that, not much has happened right now aside from Tails and Rose City Saint having the cross to augment their hammer, while Victor Santa Fe has probably the major advantage of the lot in the boots as a far more useful, I would think immediately so useful item.
Yeah, the boots are great, especially early on. The earlier you get the boots, the better, because in Zelda 2 Randomizer, the boots are more useful. In the original Zelda 2, you can only walk on certain water tiles. You just had to know and do trial and error to see which water tiles you can walk on. In Zelda 2 Randomizer, you can walk on any of them that are not on the edge of the screen. And enemies don't give you encounters when you encounter them on the... oh, someone's about to take a splash. When you encounter them on the water, you don't get an encounter. They just disappear. And they also don't spawn. So it's like a better road. So the longer you have those boots, the more of the game you're saving time on the overworld. So getting it early is pretty much the best.
Yeah, RCS seems to be having a good bit of trouble here. Just not having a fun day. Oh no, that's probably the fourth time he's died on that screen.
Yeah, this is definitely this is a screen that frustrates people in vanilla, and it just has bubbles in vanilla. But you throw in some rock spitting bagu bagus, and it becomes even more fun. But I think RCS is just kind of getting into a stride right now. He is one of the best players for the randomizer. Trails is as well, and Victor Santa Fe has improved quite a bit over the last couple months. So he's not so bad himself.
Well, there is a tournament going on. I believe Rose City Saint is in the finals or very close to it.
Right. I didn't watch his last game. Gotta do that. Sorry.
So, oh, that's all right. Just a little bit of sidetracking. I believe the end of level boss of the tournament is Dig Shake himself, so clearly rigging things in his favor. But that aside, Rose City Saint is definitely one of the most skilled runners.
Yeah, he's real good.
Oh boy, Victor Santa Fe has found most powerful magic. So that will be Thunder for Victor Santa Fe.
Yeah, unlike in the original Zelda 2, and we got more Thunder for RCS. This is the town of Mito, and it's actually one of the best towns you can come across because it has down stab. But they don't have fairy or jump, so they can't get down stab yet. So they're actually going to double dip this town. Having the medicine this early to turn in... did they get the medicine? Let me check the flags real quick. Hold on.
I do not believe so. I've not seen the medicine, so it's possible the spell items may be turned off.
Yeah.
Which are the child, the medicine, and the trophy.
Yeah, that could well be. Yeah, remove spell items. That's one of the flags that's turned on right now. So this is going to be a jet seed. You just walk into a town, you grab the spell, and also there's another requirement for some of the towns, the ones on the eastern continent. They also can sometimes require you to grab a certain number of magic containers. So like for Naburu, you have to have 5, I think. For Journey, you have to have 6. For New City, you have to have 7. And for Old City, you have to have all 8 magic containers. So, you don't normally notice this when you're playing the game because you typically have these magic containers by that time, or at least in most cases. But yeah, that's another thing that's disabled here. So right now, all the spells are free. You just walk in and grab them. This is going to be a very easy flag set for these guys. TAH, he wanted to give these guys a break after my flag set last week.
Oh, were you causing them a little bit of trouble last week?
I played it. I finished.
In 3 or 4 hours.
No, I was only 20 minutes behind Trails. Yeah, okay, I didn't beat Trails, but he's Trails. I've stopped beating him a long time ago.
And speaking of Trails picking up Thunder, so all of our runners have most powerful magic. I think we only need to find Reflect, and that should be it for the spell side of the absolutely required spells of Thunder and Reflect.
Yeah, although they definitely do want to pick up the Fairy spell. Because the Fairy spell can be required in Palace 5, 6, and GP. It just depends on the layout of the palace, whether it's required or not. And hey, Zimbob one. I resemble that comment. We played those flags the week before, me and Trails, and it turned out fine. It wasn't just the flags. It was just a bad seed. It was an especially hard seed.
Well, Trails and Victor Santa Fe both finding Spectacle Rock in Death Mountain, so the candle being there, so this,
now they can see.
I think almost messes up the runners because you're so used to not seeing things. But, well, looks like Trail's finding the flute. So that might be our Death Mountain items off the menu.
Now, on Trail's screen, you saw a Dyra in Magic Container Cave. Sorry, Trophy Cave. That's something you don't normally see in that particular cave. You actually can time that jump and just jump over a Dyra in that particular case. But it's a you got to time it decently well. It looks harder than it is, though. But yeah, that P6 was a huge troll last week. That's for sure.
All right, now, here's the big important question. As we see Trails finding jump, is...
Oh, yeah. He's going to go back. Well, I know, it's Trails. He might not. He'll go back later.
What is the likelihood of the flute being useful?
Let me look at the flags real quick. So there's always the chance that River Devil might be useful. It's a low chance because that's just how the randomizer works. But we have Hidden Palace. That's 3-Red Rock. We have that set to random, so there's a 50% chance of that. And then there's, let's say, a 1 or 2% chance of River Devil actually doing his job. So it's like a 51, 52% chance of requiring the flute. Oh, man. Victor didn't kill that Gildarm. You can do it, buddy. If you go for it, if you just do it and you hit the Geldarm on the way down, not
Oh,
the head,
Victor taking a trip to the sauna there.
Yeah, you don't want to bounce off. But that was possible. You could do that in one jump, I think.
Well, Trail's picking up down stab, so I'm going to want to be slightly inclined to say that Trails is off to a little bit of an early lead here.
Yeah, he didn't find Mito earlier, so he got to do this in one go. Oh, wait, no. He did do Mito earlier. Never mind.
That's all right. I forgive you.
And so it begins. All right, another jump spell for Victor.
So Rose City Saint and Victor Santa Fe both picking up, I believe, jump.
So Schoolgirly, I think you know this, but with the Geldarms, you can actually pass through them if you jump at them at a certain angle, and you attack at a certain time. They will be in their hit stun, and you just simply pass through them. So if he jumped over the Orange Dyra at just the right angle and hit the Geldarm in the right place at the right time, he would have continued through that jump and just done it. It's not a pixel, no. It's not pixel perfect. You can hit it in a lot of different places and do it.
Well, this is interesting. Trails seems to be still interested in the Death Mountain caves.
And you know what? That's actually pretty good. Yeah. Because they're looking for the raft and the magic key at this point. Until they find the raft, they can't explore the east, and they've seen a lot of the western continent so far. So this is kind of like going into the question that... hold on, let me pull the name up real quick. Yeah, Kuki. The question that Kuki was asking earlier about, like, how do you plan for something like this? Well, you know, at this point, he knows that he's seen a lot of the western continent, and he knows that he needs the raft to finish the game, of course. But the raft can be either in, you know, Hammer Cave or one of these other places on the east that he hasn't explored yet, or it can be in a palace, but only if they get the magic key somewhere else in the east, because the game isn't going to require them to go into the palace until they get the magic key or the fairy spell. And since they've already gotten all the spells in the this side of the continent, so they know it's going to be the magic key they're looking for. So he's checking this because there's 2 possible items that he could get here that would be good, and he's running out of other spots to look for it. So yeah, you just kind of have to do that in your head when you're playing.
All right, so explain to me why the raft wouldn't be in a palace that we've seen already.
It could be, but only if they get the magic key on this continent.
So could the magic key also be in a palace?
No, because they've already gotten all the spells. So both of them can't be in a palace. Because, nice, I love that bug. That's my favorite bug. Look at Trail Screen. It's so great.
That's a raft bug, nice.
That's never getting removed. Dick Shake likes it too.
You see, I'm just trying to figure out, okay, did the runners kind of overlook something, or is it just narrowing down to, okay, there's this many places the items could possibly be, and we know they're not in palaces.
Yeah. So they already know that the fairy spell is not in one of the four towns on this continent, because they already checked them. You know, with these flags, they can just get it. So that means that if they are forced to go into a palace, the only way that the game will force them to go into a palace is if they pick up the magic key before they go east. So it's just like that sort of logic you got to do in your head. The game does follow, the randomizer does follow certain rules, and among those rules, you have to be able to open the doors or pass through the doors before it requires you to go into a pallet. So I think that Trail's actually being very smart here. I haven't kept track to see what all caves they've checked, but if they've checked all the caves in the normal Western continent, then it's got to be Hammer Cave, and it's got to be either the raft or the magic key in Hammer Cave, assuming they've checked everything else already collectively.
So at this point, it's just the quest for the Hammer Cave, then.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Okay, so here's the thing. In Zelda 2 Randomizer, you can change the item drops too. And I believe, let me see if they set it to random or something.
Well, Victor Santa Fe just picked up a key as a random drop.
Yeah. So they didn't manually set keys as one of the drops. It was just randomly selected by the randomizer as one of the drops. So basically, enemies can drop keys, and so you can use that to sort of break the game a little bit and do things out of order, a sequence break, because the game does not require you to farm drops. Oh wow, Victor found Hammer Cave first.
Yeah. I think he was like, wait, what's this cave? I'm so not used to seeing it with the candle, and was ready to nope on out of there, and it's like, oh, wait, yeah, this is the one I'm looking for. Found it.
Yeah, Trails has been in here forever. I guess Victor just got lucky. Yeah, that happens sometimes. That's the thing about Hammer Cave, is that it's one cave out of, I think, like 35 or 38 or something caves. And,
many.
Maybe it's in the middle of a big, huge collection of caves, and you just gotta walk into all of them and find it, or maybe you can only get there by taking one specific cave. That's just how Zelda 2 Randomizer is sometimes. And I didn't see which one he went in, so I can't help out.
Well, hopefully we'll see it on the way out for Victor, but I've got a strong feeling that he's going to up an A once he gets to the item.
Yeah, and everyone's in Death Mountain now. RCS has figured it out. Of course, Victor is here, and he's trying to get a level before he up an A's. Oh, Trails took a death. Hopefully that's not his last life. No, he's got plenty of lives.
No.
Yeah, Victor's trying... Oh, nice. There he goes. So Victor was close to a level, so he's trying to get that level because he's going to up an A out of here. Because walking out of Hammer Cave takes a long time. It takes as long as it took to get in, and then you got to walk through all the Death Mountain again, assuming you even remember where the route you took to get there. Or you could just hit start and pause the game, and then on the second controller hit up an A and just save, or hit continue, and then you're back at the start. And there's Magic Key, like I was saying.
All right, so now into the palaces we go, Flyboy.
Exactly, and they're going to have to go in the palaces because even after checking all that, they still need that raft, so they still have to do this. We saw 5, we saw 3 or 6, and we saw 1, right? Or no, wait, we didn't see 1. I don't know what the other palace was. 5, 3, or 6, and something else.
I know it's not 4. That's
By the way. By the way, Princess Leia, I did catch that reference.
I was hoping you did.
You can't lay down a Star Wars reference without me getting it. I tried to make a Darth Vader sprite for Zelda 2. It just did not work because the animation speed is not something I can change visually. And having Darth Vader walk that fast just looks real goofy. It's like he's skipping around. I wanted it to work. Raft to a cave? Yeah, that's a bug. That's my favorite bug.
Glitch for the raft. But it looks like Trails is going to pick up the key. So now Rose City Saint is actually the last one to find the key, so this will put Rose City Saint somewhat behind. And it's interesting to see that Trails has gone into a different palace than Victor has.
So that's the specifics of the bug, School Girly. I knew it was something like that, but yeah. So Trails is heading into P5, and that's pretty smart. P5, you don't need anything to get through, except there's a small chance of needing Fairy, but there's no glove block or anything like that. The palace is pretty wide open other than that. It is one of the harder palaces, though. It's a long palace, and it's got one of the harder bosses. But they've been at this for so long that...
well, look at their levels, though.
Yeah, their levels are pretty good.
I mean, this is even in the vanilla game, you're looking at going into Palace 5, maybe slightly higher than this, level-wise?
Yeah. So they're pretty prepared right now. A little bit unusual that Victor Santa Fe went for the key in that room when he has the magic key. Maybe he forgot. I don't know.
Yeah, that was an interesting play from Victor. But it stopped. It just kind of happens from time to time. But Trails finding the item, and that was the raft, so...
Yep. He's going to try to finish this palace just so he doesn't have to double dip it. Oh my gosh, Victor, wow! Okay, cool. Well, he has a jump spell, so I don't know why he didn't just cast jump and do that, but that's one of the harder jumps to make in the game. He didn't quite make it, but...
oh, he didn't make it that time either.
Yeah. Now we're going to see Trails facing off against Boss Guma. I don't think he's going to be... What are you doing, Victor? He's going for the key. He forgot he has a magic key. Oh, Victor, buddy, come on. I want to tell him, but I can't. What are you doing, buddy? You got the magic key. Just jump.
Well, in other news, Trails finishes off Guma, and let's say 27 and a half minutes in, we've dunked our first crystal.
Yep, so that's our first gem. Yeah, I mean, considering everything that's happened so far, it's a pretty respectable first gem, I'd have to say.
And it looks like Trails is actually going to handshake with Rose City Saint as they're going to jump into the palace that Victor Santa Fe has just found the item in.
Yep, Palace 2, let's see what it is.
Did not see what the item was.
Oh, it's a magic container. So magic containers are going to be less useful in this particular race because there are no magic container requirements and they're kind of easy flags right now, except for the mixed small and large.
I would like to point out that being able to cast Thunder is a good thing.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I was gonna mention that. What are you saying? I was gonna mention that. Yeah, they need to cast Thunder at least once in the game.
It is a thing. You need to cast Thunder to win this game. It's probably not possible on 4 magic jars, but you get to Magic 8 and things can happen.
It can. I think it can go down to 62, which technically means 4 magic bars is fine.
Right now it's at 85, and we are at Magic 4 on Victor Santa Fe's side of things.
Oh, facts.
Yeah, details. I know.
What's Victor doing? He has Downstead, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Just jump on their head. Leave him in the dust. You don't have to fight these guys. You've got Thunder too. I'm confused. And he remembered.
Well,
Yes, now
he
it's
has
time.
thunder,
Okay.
but he can't cast it with the magic he presently has.
Oh yeah, I was hoping, but no, because 64 plus 16 is still just 80. You're right, because that's math.
Yeah,
Just
numbers.
the math, man. Yeah, schoolgirly. But this is randomizer, so the cost of the spells changes. Yeah, yeah.
Well, the price of thunder can go down at any time, I believe, because of the randomized nature of things. It may have gone down between Magic 4 and Magic 5. I've not seen it on Rose City Saint or Trail's screen as of yet to see exactly how much it costs. But I believe each spell, and help me out if I'm wrong on this one, goes down at least twice in overall cost.
Yeah, usually. Or more than twice. You know, some spells like spell or you know, shield or something, they go down multiple times. I think jump can get really cheap. So Victor found what is a dead end for him. There is one glove block in Palace 2, and he found it. So he's got to turn around and find another way. That could be the way to the boss, though, and if so, he's going to have to come back here once he gets the glove, so he can break those blocks and finish the palace.
Well, Trail's already noped out, and as did Rose City Saint. They seem to be far more interested in Palace 5 for Rose City Saint, and I'm not entirely sure where Trails is, but it's now
Trails,
where Victor Santa Fe is.
Yeah.
So Trail's getting the memo a little bit before Victor Santa Fe, both of them noping out and going into the final palace.
Oh no, this is 3. Oh, easy item for Trails. That's
all right,
good.
so,
Could be the glove.
We've got a magic jar, a raft, and a heart container as our items so far, and Victor Santa Fe getting glove blocked. Not able to jump through quite fast enough.
Yeah, the fairy spell can help here because it reduces your hitbox. It can go through smaller cracks, and also fairy has no knockback, so you can just, if you get hit by a block, it's not going to push you back and delay you. Just one sec.
Uh-oh.
Mom, come on. Don't call me during Zelda 2 Randomizer, Mom! You know I've got to play my video games, Mom!
Look what you did. You made, you make a boss show up on Trail's screen, and he immediately deletes him.
Yeah, Ribinak can be a challenging boss to new players. He's certainly a fun boss, but there are a few tricks to make him much easier. And they know all these tricks. And timing is part of it, for sure.
Yeah, so Trail's going ahead 2-0 and seems to be much more interested in heading east.
And yeah, that's pretty wise. He's got everything he can out of P5 and P3. Those are done. He's got to come back to 2, but for now, he's just got to do these other 3 palaces over here and find the glove.
Well, let's see. We know 1 for Great Palace and 2 are on the eastern side. Or no, 1,
Yeah,
4,
they've
6 in
seen
Great Palace.
yeah 4, 6 Great Palace, and there's one more, and one. Yeah, one.
Yeah. 1, we didn't see the floating Moa, so we know that's 4. So at this point, I'll probably let's be generous. Call it the halftime point of the seed here. Trails getting into the Eastern Continent, definitely an advantage.
Yeah.
Rose City.
It's a little surprising to see RCS this far behind Trails, considering they weren't too far apart in getting the raft.
Wow, Rose City Saint just immediately up and A-ing after getting the raft. So, oh, up and A-ing again. Out he goes. Okay, so looks like Rose City Saint valuing the raft far more than taking down a boss.
Well, yeah, RCS tends to be a little bit careful, and it's possible for there to be a fairy block there. So he's going to come back when he has fairy to make sure he doesn't get blocked. The thing is,
looks like Trails is trying to get the clip and find his upstab, but doesn't seem like he's able to get enough momentum. Normally you would need fairy. Oh, no, he's just going to go the long way.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people waste a lot of time trying to get that clip. I've only seen people actually get that clip in a way that saves time, like twice in the whole tournament. But people are going for it, and eventually they'll figure out a good method for themselves, and it'll be a nice tool in their tool chest. But for now, it's still something they're working on. A lot of these racers.
Well, let's see if Rose City Saint can pull it off, because he's right here. So here we go, and nope, nope, negative. Strike 3. You're out. Nope, that's 4. Nope, not ball 4. Well, yeah, maybe ball 4, because he's going for a walk.
Yeah, now the upstab is useful in GP because it helps you get through the waffle rooms faster. It also helps you, protect you from certain enemies and helps you kill them faster. And it's possible that you can need upstab in GP.
And School's Girlies just jump when half your sprite is in the bricks. Like, it's just that easy. While we've seen 2 of our very top-tier runners fail 10 times between the 2 of them.
Yeah, it's a tough trick to pull off, but they'll get it with some more practice.
So Rose City Saint gonna pick up a spell here. Ooh, combo platter. So we get the fire spell from Rose City Saint, and I believe now Trails as well. Victor Santa Fe still going out of his way to collect keys. Possibly still forgetting that the any key is a thing.
I mean, he did find it. He was the first person to find it. I was so proud of him. My little baby Victor Santa Fe grew up into, Victor Santa Fe with a boss key. Whatever, I'm sorry.
It happens. It's randomizer.
Yeah, my brain is pretty randomized right now.
Well, at least Trails will hopefully remember the magic word, I believe, now having the spell.
Alright, RCS getting the swag pickup. For some reason, and nobody really knows how or why, you can pick up P-Bags with your Blade Beam in New Kusuto and only in New Kusuto. It's just a thing.
Well, Trails going into the spell tower and finding a heart container. I was kind of hoping for something a little more exciting, like a magic jar.
Yeah, that's not terribly exciting, is it?
I mean, it helps that whole quality of life and survival thing, but I think
Yeah.
the magic jar is a little more important, all things considered, just off of the basis of Thunder being what it is right now.
Yeah, the thing is, if you go into Thunderbird's room and you need to cast Thunder, but you've already cast a spell, you know, you don't want to take a death just for that, especially if it's your last life. And you could be in a situation where there's literally no way to refill your magic.
Oh, the River
Other
Devil's
than
actually blocking a pass-through cave. Or a pass-through path, I should say.
so
So
it is possible.
there is a chance that the River Devil might actually be useful this season.
The glove is in there, maybe.
It's entirely plausible that there's more than one way around, like going onto the water, perhaps. But it is possible the River Devil could be doing something useful.
That trail's going into that forest tile and remembering, hey, wait, the best thing I can expect from this forest tile is a pea bag, and I just left 2 pea bags behind because I didn't care about them, so therefore I shouldn't care about this pea bag in here.
Yeah, at 554, I think Victor Santa Fe and RCS are both kind of going, well, I'm really done with levels at this point.
Yeah, and Trails has entirely... he has all the heart, all the life levels almost, which, of course, makes me want to gag. Ha! Life 7.
Well, he could make it to life 9. If that's actually a thing or not, I'm not entirely sure.
Nah, schoolgirly. I just like being efficient with what I'm given. I don't try to go out of my way for levels. Well, I sometimes do, if it's just a little bit. But I just like getting the most out of my levels because it's fun. RCS found one of the item caves. Let's see what's in here. I don't think we've seen this one before. Or maybe we have. There's another item location Trails found that does not have the glove. So, where is it going to be?
Oh, a magic jar for Rose City Saint. So I believe Trails has found this one, but it looks like free spell time for Trails. As Victor Santa Fe finds the raft, and I can only assume is going to immediately head east. I think he's just about had enough of Palaces 2 and 5 right now.
Yeah, that's definitely something you can do. If you up an A talking to school really real quick. If you up an A when you're at a certain point collecting your gem, then you will level up when you restart in Northern Palace. You got to time it right. So yeah, you can use it for that. But I mean, if you game over or something, or if you up an A, then all those experience points go away. So. But it's pretty cool. Yeah, if it results in her refilling her magic after T-Bird, because T-Bird's usually worth 1,000, then that's not as useful, but it can still be useful, because there could be like a magic requirement later on.
Alright, here's the big question of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Since we saw fire,
Yeah.
Is it linked to anything in this particular seed? Because I believe it is possible that it is or is not linked to another spell.
Yeah, let me check. Yeah, it's linked to something. So they're still looking for fairy, I think, right? I mean, it can be required, and I know RCS avoided P5 just out of the fact that it might be required in there. Oh, it's an old Casino? Yeah.
So why not give fire a shot and see what it's linked to at this point? I believe Rose City Saint was into Old Kasuto already, so...
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Having the Eastern Continent unlocked, I believe all of the spells are now up for grabs, especially with the Trophy Medicine and Child being removed from the item pool.
Oh yeah, it's totally easy to get all the spells here. It can be a little bit tough to find all the towns, especially on the Eastern, because the Eastern often has weird, valleys that you can only get to through certain passer caves. But I think they've found them all at some point. So here's Old
So
Kasuto.
I stand corrected. It was Trails that found all of the towns. Rose City Saint going to now have a magic word that will give him power, which is the fairy spell.
Out of how generous the seed has been in every other respect, we have not found, neither hide nor hair of
River Devil,
glove.
you are such a disappointment.
There's a way around, isn't there?
No,
Oh,
he's
River Devil.
blocking a dead end.
Oh no! Awful. We need to fire that guy.
I mean, he found a nice place to block, and it's like you're really like psyched. He's like, you've got this spot where you're blocking, the access, but then you're like, oh well, what's around this corner? A dead end.
Nothing. How much do we pay that guy?
Oh my god.
Too much.
I don't even know, but like, we need to have a talk with HR or something, because he's just slacking off on the job.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Alright, so Victor Santa Fe is in Daruni. He's going to be picking up his upstep here. Maybe he'll get the clip. Meanwhile, Trails is checking in P1 for the item, hoping it's a glove. It was not. So, I guess it's in P4. Glove's in P4. Or
Victor Santa Fe not even trying it. Just going, nope, I am going to go straight to ceiling hopping.
oh, we haven't seen Mace Island.
Trails found a 1-up doll in the palace he is presently in.
Yeah.
So
P1.
that is another location that is not the glove.
Oh, there's Maze Island. Have we seen Maze Island? Is Trails in Maze Island?
We have not seen Maze Island. Well, we've seen the access to Maze Island, but not Maze Island itself yet. So Rose City Saint might be the first into Maze Island. And possibly the glove at this point?
Yeah, there's a very strong chance of that. If Trails hasn't been in Maze Island yet, there's 2 items that you can pick up off the road in Maze Island. And there's one in the palace. Now, it's possible the palace is GP. I don't think have we seen GP?
No, we have seen Great Palace.
Okay.
So this is probably 4.
Yeah. Alright, so he's going to check these road locations because it's here. And Horsehead's dead. Bye, Horsehead. Just destroyed. Horsehead needs revenge. There's GP. Victor Santa Fe. It's on the northwest coast of the eastern continent.
And I think it was Trail's first palace that he found. But, Rose City Saint definitely trying to find the drop downs.
And Victor finding his new Kasuto. This will be good. It's got P bags. That's always nice. It's got a bunch of P bags, I think, and the spell. So it's pretty much a dud, if I remember correctly. All right, we got another look at Maze Island from Trails. Although it looks like he doesn't want to go inside yet. He wants to see what's in that cave first. Let's pass through.
I'm somewhat confused by Rose City Saint here. He should be fairy feeding through here. And I think he went back to the palace to check his magic level, realized, oh, it's full.
There's a glove.
Out of all of that, Rose City Saint gets the gloves, so go mode for RCS.
Oh, and he just happens to find the next one right there.
They were what, a pixel apart from each other? 2?
That would be 32 pixels, sir. He's not even gonna walk the other 2 inches to get the P bag. Which, I mean, I guess I understand, but he's kind of... That would put him close to another level. And he can get 2 levels out of P4.
Alright, so
like
it was 3 squares of movement for Rose City Saint. So it's going to be back to Palace 4, and pretty sure Rose City Saint's going to start his voyage toward the front of this little race by starting at Palace 4, working his way west as he goes.
Yes, I did talk about levels. You can take your drinks now, guys. Well, he decided to refill that 2 bars of magic that he wasted by up an egg.
Ay.
No.
So is this the official game of commentary here to see what we talk about and
yeah,
the spectators react accordingly?
We can start talking about mortgages again.
Oh yes, a very important topic.
Yep. Aren't we serious adults? Doing serious things right now.
Some of us are. As much as I try not to be. But, let's see. Trails and Rose City Saint both in Palace 4 right now. Or are my eyes deceiving me? No, Trails
No.
just a few rooms behind.
Well, your eyes might be deceiving you, but you're also correct that they're in the same palace. And Victor taking a little dip. Still got lives. Did he name himself U.S. Navy? I just saw on Victor's side. Looked like U.S. Navy or something. He's from Argentina.
I think Trails named himself
Brazil.
U.S. Navy. But maybe it's some kind of inside joke on the IRC, but I am going to have to side with the NPCs in this game and just say I know nothing.
Yeah, I know nothing too. Alright, so RCS is making this Karak fight really hard. But it looks like after a vicious fight with the masterful boss Karak. Oh, nice! Well, thank you for your service, Kooky. Yeah, when I used to play a lot of MechWarrior, about half of my video game clan was former or ex or active military. It was really weird, but cool. They were good guys. Yep, I do say.
Well, Trail's extending his lead, but I think RCS is on the warpath here, finishing his first dungeon, or excuse me, palace, as Trails finishes his 4th. So it looks like Palace 6, which is on the eastern continent for Trails, as well as Palace 2, which is on the western continent, is it not? Because he noped out of there earlier in this run.
Palace 2 is on Western, yeah.
So I believe our runners were glove blocked. So is it correct to say glove blocked and ferry locked from Palace 2? Because if they had ferry, they could have gotten through, but oh wow, that is a very extensive Valley of Death, and I think that's exactly where Rose City Saint... No, not going into Valley of Death. There's a palace there. Finish it.
Yeah, there's always a palace in Valley of Death.
Rose City Saint just kind of going around in circles.
I think he was trying to dodge the enemies, and he did a good job with that. And for the newer players, you can see Trails and RCS doing fairy feet right now. It's a trick where you use the instant acceleration of the fairy to just barely get out of the out of the border of the screen, and do that without actually causing a screen transition. And then the way the game calculates which side of the force encounter should put you on is which direction you're holding on the D-pad when it decides you're outside the screen. So you just use the instant acceleration to get outside, and then you press left or right if you want to go left or right, or up or down or whatever. It's actually a really cool trick, but it's very difficult to get. It is possible to do it without fairy, but like only for a task or something. It would be unbelievably difficult to do it without fairy. Alright, another little fun fact is although the randomizer changes the graphics in the palaces, it changes their colors, it changes which of the bricks that they use, it does not change the windows, it does not change the pillars or the capitals for those pillars. So you can use those things to figure out what palace you're in, and that's how these players know when they're entering the palaces, which ones are, when they're first going inside, which ones they're going to be. There's various clues that you can see from the outside that will tell you, without a shadow of a doubt, which palace it is, except between 3 and 6. You have to go inside for that.
Well, Victor Santa Fe trying to make his way through a particular palace that is Palace 1. So absolutely going to demolish Horsehead while we see a mini-boss fight on both Rose City Saint and Trails side of things.
So RCS, has he caught up? No, he didn't do P5 yet, right? So
I was going to say yes and no, because Guma's like 3 or 4 screens in, so I don't think P5 will be all that difficult. But in the sense of Trails being ahead Palace 1 and 3 on top of 5, I would say Trails has a decent buffer at this point.
Is this really just RCS's second palace? Or
it is.
Did we miss something?
No, we did not.
So, Victor's up on RCS?
3 palaces, yes.
No, Victor's got 2, it says. But, yeah.
Well, Victor just finished his second palace.
Yeah.
But Trails is up 4-2-1 in completed palaces at this point. Trails did put in the time and effort to finish Palace 5 and I believe Palace 3 initially before heading to the Eastern Continent, where he's finished Palace 4 and Palace 1.
Yeah, well, I guess Trails just has a commanding lead right now then. And we're just gonna have to accept that. I wanted to say earlier, his last Rubenak fight was really good against that mini boss. So there's 2 ways to take on Rubenak very quickly. First of all, you can position yourself in a particular place, and then downstab as he's passing, and then he will end up in the left corner of the screen, and you can just downstab him for free. And then when the horse is defeated, you just transition to downstabbing Rubenak himself. And in that particular position, for some reason your downstabs sometimes get through his armor, and you can defeat him very easily that way. Although if he walks off screen and stuff sometimes, and that makes it more difficult. The other way is just to have a good rhythm with your jump stabs, and just do it the sort of the traditional way. Just do it really well, and that can actually be faster, depending on your sword level and stuff. If your sword level is too high, actually, it can be a little frustrating because Rubenak's horse will die right away, and when that happens, it can cause some problems with the positioning of Rubenak himself. So, oh, Trail's taken 2 deaths in this room, but he had lots of lives, so.
Well, Rose City Saint made it to the other side, as did Trails, I believe.
No,
and they just kind of saw what was on the other side and went, no, thank you.
That's the 3rd lava bath. You can only take 1 more lava bath. Oh man, this is kind of embarrassing for poor guy. I've done much worse. I've game over to this screen. I think a lot of people have, and nothing's going to stop him now. It's just 3 deaths in this. That is kind of costly for time. It's a little bit for RCS to catch up with. Here's Barba.
Yeah, so it'll be a Barba fight's worth of difference between Trails and Rose City Saint at this point.
What did RCS just do? Okay, so there's a trick you can do with Barba, where if you walk in a certain way, he'll always come out on the right. But if you don't do that trick, he comes through a random hole. And he positioned himself to attack the middle hole for some reason. Maybe he's found another way that he knows that Barba will come out predictably. Huh? Weird. Upstab can be a bit risky, but yeah, if you got jump and upstab, yeah, that's doable.
Well, Trails made up a good bit of time with his Barba fight, so Rose City Saint not really getting any appreciable amount of time, and I think Trails just going to head back over to Palace 2.
And honestly, I think this is what RCS should be doing too. He should up an A, do P5 and P2, and then come back and get the rest of these palaces done. I mean, you don't have to do Valley of Death. Even though it's an exceptionally short Valley of Death, I don't see why not do it that way, you know? But it seems like that'd be good routing.
Supposing Rose City Saint does is actually head over to the Western Continent again and just smack 2, 3, and 5 out of the way. then head back over for one in Great Palace.
Yeah, because you've got to go to the Western Palace again eventually at some point. So you might as well, save a little bit of time from Valley of Death. That was a very short Valley of Death, but all the
somewhat
same.
Disagree with you here,
Okay.
and it's only because of the location of Palace 1 being so far away from where I believe the Great Palace is, which is just about right at the start of the continent.
Okay.
Rose City Saint would have to go all the way back around here again, and I think that's going to be more of a time sink.
Okay, I mean, if that's the case, then yeah, you're absolutely right on that. But yeah, Kuki, Z2R has a flag for Three-Eyed Rock, which is the one we need the flute for. Yeah. That's in the new version, or the relatively new version of the randomizer. And Helmet Head's dead. That was fast. Good job, Trails.
But, either way, Rose City Saint is significantly behind Trails, and Victor Santa Fe significantly behind, I think, both other runners at this point. So,
well, technically, Victor is ahead of RCS. Technically.
That is true, but I think I like Rose City Saint's position a little better compared to Victor Santa Fe's.
Yeah, I gotta say, if Victor was gonna go back to the West to do P2, he should have done P5 when he was there. Because now he's gonna have to up an A again, and then head across the pond again. And you want to minimize that kind of stuff as much as you can. And Horsehead's dead. There was no number 4. I could have been number 4. I could have been a contender. But they're playing with baby flags, so I didn't want to. No, I just wanted to calm today, actually.
Yeah, I couldn't kick Nightcrawler out of the commentary booth fast enough.
Yeah,
like, oh, this guy again?
Well, speaking of moaning in agony, we've got Great Palace on Trail's side, and so far it seems pretty... well, this room seems fun, but other than that, it seems pretty easy so far.
Well, it was 106.45 for Trail, so he's been in for a minute, as Rose City Saint is now into another palace to try to close the gap. I believe this is Palace 5.
Yeah, this is definitely Palace 5. Sorry, I just spaced out there for a second. I was looking at GP. Victor going in for that Iburu spell, I guess. I guess he hasn't been in here yet. Oh, he forgot. Okay, yeah, that's one thing for runners. When you're playing with a flag that you have all the that there's no magic items, that actually includes the water and the mirror. Even though they're not items that you pick up and go da na 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 na, it still technically is considered an item by the game.
Well, yeah, I see what the problem was for Victor Santa Fe. He's just now picked up Reflect, which would have made Palace 4 rather difficult. But Rose City Saint trying to call it a comeback here with only Palace 2 and 3 remaining before joining Trails in the Great Palace.
Well, 2... I think that was a pretty easy palace, considering how quickly Victor and Trails got through it.
Yeah, so at this point, it's just a matter of trying to close the gap for Rose City Saint against Trails. So Trails finding a dead end or 10 might be in Rose City Saint's favor.
Oh yeah. So both keys and 1-ups can be randomized into the drop pool, or you can set them as drops. Um, there's a lot that the randomizer can do. It's pretty dope. You could probably do like droppable hearts if someone wanted to do a little programming for that.
Oh, for the record, I believe the spell items are all replaced by P bags when they are taken out of the item pool.
Yep. And so are any other items that they start with. So that's why you've seen so many P bags. And that's Helmet Head.
Boop boop Dunzo. Rose City Saint, only Palace 3 remains. But for now, Trails has got about a 3-minute advantage so far, and TikTok glows the clock. And now Rose City Saint trying to remember where exactly Palace 3 was.
Yeah, that's the trouble when you're playing one of these seeds and you come across something, or you do half a palace and you start to learn a little bit about it. Remembering that, an hour later when you can finally do the palace or go there, that's another thing. Memory. It's useful sometimes.
Yeah, very yeah, I think Rose City Saint has potentially forgotten where Palace 3 actually is. He seems to be floating about the map, just trying to find something, which will hopefully result in Palace 3 showing up sooner rather than later.
So where was 3 again? It wasn't... I don't think it was in this direction.
To be honest, I cannot remember.
It wasn't on the Western continent. Is he on the Western continent? Oh no, it wasn't on the Western continent.
3 is definitely on the Western continent.
Yeah, sorry, no, it was in the south. I remember where it was. It was in the south.
Because the only other place Rose City Saint has left is Great Palace, which is just about right off the raft spot.
Yeah, this is unfortunate, but RCS is still in this. It's not over until
we see at least a Thunderbird, if not a Dark Link.
Yeah. And Trails is on life support right now. Well, not quite, but close. But he decides to pass up the ferry, and he's in a fun room, so he's gonna die. Or maybe not. This looks like an easy fun room. Darn it, game.
Oh.
I want it to be a hard fun room. I want there to be fire, spicy chickens and blue bird nights and all that stuff. And
well, Rose City Saint has successfully unlearned the location of Palace 3.
He's going northish, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe it's to the south.
Yeah, it is. And he is not going to the south. That's like the only place he's not going.
Yeah, he should already know he's been here.
Yeah. Oh, RCS. He had a chance. I don't think he has much of a chance at this point, I'm sorry to say.
Well, tick-tock goes the clock, as the saying goes. Trails being given more time to just freely roam has now found Thunderbird.
Yeah, so and he had to take that death to get his magic back.
Yeah, with 3 lives in reserve, I think Trails is in a very good position.
And he has explored a lot of GP so far, so there's not going to be that much left. Dark Leak is going to be really soon after this. could be some really trolly series of drops, though, that takes them all the way to the beginning. You never know. Oh, he took all 4 drops? Okay, well, guess not.
RCS. Yeah, that south. So that'll do it for Thunderbird, and Trail's one obstacle remaining. And I'm pretty sure I know what this room means.
Well, you got your Link, you got your Dark Link, you throw them into a purple room together, and see what happens. One of them stands in the corner like a sissy, and the other one, jumps into his sword. And that's what happens.
Yeah, just about. And there we go. That'll do it for Trails. So Trail's going to be our first place finisher on the weekly. And now I just realized that I did not have the timer up at all. So I do not know what his official... I do not see his official SRL time for the finish.
I see it. I know everything. His official SRL time is 1 hour, 15 minutes, and 58 seconds.
I was going to say, you could lord it over me all you want, but I think our viewing audience wants to know. The timers on the screen here are guidelines.
Yeah, the timers that you see on the screens are taken from the streamers' personal streams, and it's just whenever they press the button is when their timers start. So I guess Trails pressed his button like 6 seconds early. Come on, Trails. What are you doing?
I believe that's a false start. Is that a 5-yard penalty on Trails?
I think so.
We have Victor Santa Fe going up against Barba in Palace 6, and Rose City Saint finding the real Rebanak.
Well, he's not even standing. How can you tell?
He's got the fancy, bunting hanging from his room there.
Bunting? It's the bunting that gives it away?
Yeah.
The fuchsia bunting?
Exactly. Only a real man uses fuchsia.
Now, I just want to correct Schoolgirly, and you're just going by what I said, so I don't blame you at all. But it's actually magenta. Just throwing that out there. And by the way, even if it is magenta or fuchsia, it's still purple. So, purple is, it includes many different shades of purple.
I know nothing. But, well, actually, I do know something. Rose City Saint at about 118.40 into Great Palace. Victor Santa Fe still with Palace 4 and 5 remaining. So I think Victor Santa Fe is got 1 palace on the western and 1 palace on the eastern continent still to do.
It's actually kind of funny. A lot of artists, both 2D artists, both like pixel artists and even like Photoshop artists and stuff, they'll use that color of purple, that bright magenta, as their like a transparent, channel, because no one in their right mind is ever going to use that color for anything else. Except Zelda 2 used it at the end of the game, so, and then nobody ever used it ever again. That color is just verboten. Don't blame me, Schoolgirly. This is just the way things are. Alright, we get to hear the cool GP music. And I really like the colors on Victor Santa Fe's Palace. I think this is Palace 1. Wait, it's not... He did Palace 1. But I'm pretty sure this is...
4.
Okay. I can accept 4. Alright, that's good.
It's the almost Palace 1. Victor found the raft first, Trails.
Oh, you know what? We got a job to do. We gotta press the done button on Trail so he gets his invite. Duh. Okay. There we go. He'll get his invite now. Yeah, Victor found the magic key first, and then he forgot he had the magic key for like 20 minutes.
Uh-oh, really I think awkward. We have an intruder alarm going off.
Oh no. Is it Trails?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Well done, man. You kicked the seed in the knees.
Yeah, I mean, I felt getting that magical key of the thing because I felt like people could have gotten a couple key drops and just jumped in a palace.
Yeah, that's possible, but still getting the magic key is probably worth a dip if you know where it is, you know? And the game's logic, you're the one who figured it out first, that you had to go into Death Mountain to get the magic key. Would you, let's say you had enough keys to go into the palaces and get the raft. Would you have gone into Death Mountain and gotten the magic key knowing where it is?
If I knew it was the magic key.
Yeah, I think that's the situation that we were in. You realized what was happening first, and so that was your early lead. I think you hit up all the item locations before everyone else did.
I full cleared the west besides placing the gem in Palace 2 before I left.
Yeah, that was pretty good stuff. RCS, he didn't want to face Guma. Probably because he was afraid that he'd get fairy blocked or something. So he had to come back and do that later. But, I mean, that's not really a time loss. Because he had to go back for 2 anyway. And, for 2. And then he kind of forgot where 3 was.
Yeah, that was his time loss.
Yeah, that was a time loss, but even with that, you still had a pretty good lead, Trails.
Did anyone else jump in 5 first?
I don't think so. I think that's what RCS did second.
Victor Santa Fe was in 2 or 3 first. Struggled mightily, got glove blocked, got out, and then I believe went into all of the dungeons, palaces, before actually finishing 3 as the first palace. Victor Santa Fe is actually battling Boss Guma right now.
Did a pretty good job of it. He took a few bops, but he finished them off quickly.
I went into Palace 5 thinking I'm just gonna kill Guma, and then I'll come back if I need the item. But I took the first right, and it took me right to the item.
There you go.
I was debating on whether or not I was gonna search the item out of there or not, but...
Well, it was a 1 in 3 chance of being what you needed, right, at that point.
Yeah, but it was also a 1 in 3 chance of being a total labyrinth of crap and then wasting a whole bunch of time.
Yeah. for sure. Sorry, I thought you meant when you found the item room, like you were thinking about just not checking, but no. I
Oh no,
misunderstood.
I was going in for Guma regardless.
Yeah, that's good. You know, finish what you can when you can. Definitely some diverging strategies. You know, you and RCS play a lot together, and despite that, you guys have different strategies and how you tackle things. You like to do palaces as you come across them, right?
A lot of the time, yeah, especially if GP isn't on the western continent, then I like to do all the palaces and then sail east, hoping to never have to come back ever again.
Yeah, and if that pays off, if you could do all the palaces, then that's a pretty good time save if you get that.
Well, if I may interject, the chase is on as Victor Santa Fe finding himself into the Great Palace. So, Rose City Saint having a couple minutes worth of time to explore. Victor Santa Fe on the chase, but Rose City Saint seems to be a little lost right now.
How would you say a GP was? Was it
It was pretty
decent?
bad.
It was pretty
It was
bad.
pretty bad.
As far as the layout or the enemies?
The layout, it wasn't as straightforward as you would think a shortened GP was. It was more like a really just confusing. I took all the drops before I realized that none of the drops worked,
Mm.
and then I found the way. You actually have to go in that room, the Jackamus room that RCS noped out of, and you have to go down the elevator and to the.
That's not too far out of meta.
No, I mean, well, the way to get to where RCS is right now is
Yeah.
it's a trek, and he's gonna go. I forget. Oh yeah, this is a drop room destination. If he continues left through this room, it takes him to a drop room destination, I believe. It was a kind of a tricky GP. I have to admit I was a little worried
Yeah.
coming through here because it took me about 10 minutes, I want to say.
That's a pretty long GP for a short GP.
Yeah, and I don't know, Rose City Saint and we don't really race as much as we used to. We used to race a lot, but I don't know.
Wow, that might be why he just took that lava bath right now.
You gotta stay on your toes, man. You gotta stay and take that lava swim. Now, Rose City Saint is a really good runner, and he'll always be a really good runner. He's actually the standard champion, and off against Jay Cooper on, is it Thursday night? I don't know. Some night this week, he's facing off against Jay Cooper to be in the finals
That'll be exciting.
against Dig Shake. Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. I'm out of the tournament, by the way.
Yeah, I was out a long time ago. I'm sad. I'm very sad to say. But I did get to do a lot of commentary, so that was always cool. Maybe I'll come on RCS's big game.
I'm practicing for a Zelda 2 All Keys tournament that I'm currently in right now, and practicing a lot recently. And
I noticed you've been playing more vanilla, haven't you? The last couple of months?
Yeah, a lot more, and man, it is a difficult game. When you like, I stopped playing it for, I want to say like 6 or 8 months, and man, it is a difficult game to pick back up. When they talk about they're rusty, and people aren't joking. And I tried to. It was like all of the tricks I used to do and stuff. None of that stuff works anymore. Like I had to relearn all the strats over again. It's like I forgot.
Yeah, like you were trying for the clip in Darunia earlier, and That's harder than it looks.
Oh yeah, that's very difficult.
You made pretty good work out of that second Rebanak. It was a really clean fight. The mini boss in P6.
Oh yeah, yeah. Whatchamacallit, but yeah, I mean that's the thing. Well, with me at least, and I think it's probably true. All right, Rose City Saints going the right way this time. I think it's true for me, and I want to say I don't want to speak for everybody, but I want to say maybe true for all runners. That if you don't stay practiced, like I don't know. At least for me, I can't. I forget, or I begin to not play so well. I don't know.
You lose the reflexes.
Yeah, it's almost as I don't want to say it's quite as bad as having to learn the game all over again, but it's pretty bad.
Ooh, Rose City Saint needing to play a game of Catch That Fireball to reset his magic.
I'm so good at that game.
Thank goodness when I came in here, I only had to take one fireball, so.
Yeah, so once he finishes this, Darklink's in the next room, so he'll be done. Yeah, good stuff. Nice that everyone completed, pretty close to each other. Or, more or less.
My my timer might be a couple seconds fast.
Yeah.
Because that's the first thing I do when RaceBot counts down. I hit the timer, and then I close all of the windows, and then I pull up my emulator. So I start my timer a couple seconds early. So that's
we were saying that. We were like 6 seconds early. That's a big.
But I mean, if you watch the beginning of the VOD, you'll see that it's correct to the time.
Yeah, as long as you're starting at the right time, that's all that matters. Like the time you press, to start your timer doesn't actually mean anything really.
Well, it is an unofficial timer, so it is what it is. But it looks like Rose City Saint finishing things off in second place. If you'd be so kind as to reveal the official time.
I can do it? All right. The official SRL time of RCS for this race was 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 46 seconds. Get your GGs in chat for RCS. And if you didn't get your GGs in chat for Trails, do us a favor and do that too. So now we just have Victor Santa Fe, and I think he's pretty far along in this palace, so he's not going to be too far to the end here. And I hit the button for RCS a little while ago, so if he's coming in, he'll be in here pretty soon, I think.
Well, after running for 1.5 hours straight, you just kind of want to compose yourself for a couple minutes.
For sure.
So, I wouldn't expect him to just jump right in after being done.
Well, he's not coming in. That's too bad, but
oh, that's unfortunate.
He probably feels a bit disappointed in his time compared to you, Trails. Aw. Victor casts shield and runs away. This time he can jump over.
Victor's in the right area.
Yeah.
Way quicker.
Soon.
And
What's
so
your favorite enemy in this game, Trails? Like a normal enemy?
I'm not really sure. I like them all.
Even maybe the bubbles?
Maybe the lizard guys.
Oh yeah, the Magos? They're pretty cool.
No, the lizard guys.
Oh, the disappearing ones? That shoot the magic.
No, not the wizards. The lizards.
Oh,
With
I
the-
thought I said wizard twice. Yeah, I like the lizards too. They're pretty dope. And they give a lot of experience too. It's nice.
Yeah, both the Daira and the whatchamacallit. The Lizalfos. I like the Lizalfos better, but I like the Daira also. I think they're a really cool looking enemy. A really
Yeah,
cool
and
looking enemy.
they did a really good job with what limited sprite, with what limited resolution they have. You can really tell. You can really see the detail on them. It's pretty cool. All right, so
Man, Victor had a really fast GP.
Yeah, it might be the fastest GP out of everyone, although it'd be close to, I think, RCS.
When did RCS enter? Or how long do you think it took him?
Do you know Frico?
Let's see. I gotta think a little bit. You went in at 107.45 and took a little over 8.5 minutes. Rose City Saint was in the... Is it 121 or 124? I don't remember. I remember saying the time as to when he went in, but at the end of the day, just... Oh well, I'd have to watch the video back. But,
Actually, I think Victor had a slower GP than RCS. Looking at their, finish times or whatever, because I think Victor was only in like a minute after RCS, but still pretty good.
So Victor found the any key first?
Yeah.
Did he find it in his first pass without even searching all the items? Did he because I know if you entered the first Death Mountain entrance, it was the first cave on the right. If you took that to the other side, it was a one-way in. It was a one-way in Hammer Cave.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. Basically, well, the second part of what you said, he and RCS and yourself, none of you guys got it like on the first time looking around, but and you figured out that you needed that cave to get the magic key or the raft at that point. But Victor was the second one in, and he just kind of stumbled across the cave, and he was done with it. And you had already been searching for a little while at that point. He just got lucky. All right, so it's the town lady with a pot versus the town lady with a pot, except one of them is wearing a red dress and one of them is completely and utterly shattered. All right, get your GGs in chat for Victor Santa Fe. He finished with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 38 minutes, and 24 seconds. All right, that's it. That was a pretty good race. Let's see if he wants to come in. You already asked. Thanks, Rose. Yeah, it looks like he's coming in. Sweet.
Yeah, he's doing really good, man. That's not that far beyond the champion.
Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good race from Victor Santa Fe.
Six minutes.
Hey, Victor, what's up?
Hey,
Well, GG, man.
GG guys. So didn't take me that long as as last week, but I'm glad about that.
Maybe last week's just honed your skills. It sharpened you. And you were ready this time.
Yeah, this Thunderbird fight was horrible, but thankfully I had good levels, so I didn't have to care too much about it.
Yeah,
and
shield
yes, I was
plus
playing
level
this.
8.
I knew this was gonna be like something that Trails will be good at, and Rose Citizen not that good at. Kind of felt like it from the start, and there were a lot of things, a lot of decisions that Rose Citizen wouldn't have done, and I was pretty lucky in that sense. For example, in Palace 4, going to the bottom without asking, without.
Yeah.
So yeah, those kind of things. But it was a pretty interesting seed where things led one to another. Yeah,
So you were
I
the
really
first
enjoyed
person
it.
to get the magic key,
Oh,
but
I was
you forgot you
so
had it.
lucky in yeah, I was so lucky in that mountain. The first cave I took led me to this part where there are only 2 entrances. Yeah, and one of those was Hammer Cave, so it was really, really, really lucky. The first choice, the first thing that led me there. And yeah, it looked like, yeah, it would have been tough for anybody if they didn't take that route. For example, they entered through the other entrance to that mountain. That would have been bad for them.
I did that.
So yeah, I was really lucky in several places, but I made some big mistakes. Palace 2 kicked my ass, and
Hey Victor.
the usual.
Hey Victor, if you're in Palace 4 and you enter that room in P4 with the crumble bridge,
Uh-huh.
I actually went right there, very bottom of the
No, I
drops
felt
anyway.
it.
Oh well, well it took you to the very bottom anyway.
Yeah.
I I just went
I'll
right
leave.
and I ended up at the bottom.
I kind of leave that room to destiny. If I fail the jump, I drop to the bottom. That's like my rule in Palace 4.
Well, you took a shortcut because the bottom was the next room over, but I guess if you fall through, you get there a little.
Okay, so if you made the jump, it led you to the crumbling bridge, to the bottom.
Yeah, it did.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, it was. You can have that kind of stuff in P4 sometimes. P4 and P6 can get a little bit twisty and turny sometimes.
Oh yeah, this P6. It was
It
weird. It was long.
It wasn't as bad as last week's P6, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, last week's P6 was really rough.
Yeah, everyone game over like 10 times at least at that palace. That
Yeah.
was horrible.
And I would do it again. I would do it to you guys again.
I'd do it again.
Yeah, I'd do it again too.
Good. See? It'll all work out in the end. So, yeah, you did pretty well in this seat, I'd have to say. Especially considering it did take you a while to get to the east. But when you got there, you knocked it out pretty quick. So you were able to make some of that time back. And, you finished, within 6 minutes at RCS, so that's pretty good.
So
Who
I'm
got the-
curious about what the guys did after getting the magic key. What do you do, Trails, after getting the magic key?
I went straight into 5 to go for a Guma, but I ended up finding the item. And then so I figured, well, I came in here with the boss anyway, so I'm gonna just full clear Palace 5. Then I did Palace 2, and then I went to Palace 3. So when I left the West, I had to just come back and finish up Palace 2, because I was glove locked at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then but what did you do?
I did 2, and then 3, and then 5. I guess Rose Citizen did the same. But I'm not sure.
Oh, no. Rose City Saint started as far east as he possibly could and worked his way back west.
So he did 3 first, 2 second, and then 5.
No. What was the easternmost palace on the map?
Palace 3.
No, Maze Island 4.
Oh, we're talking about on the immediately as soon as
Before
before we.
The first palace he actually went into to finish was 4.
Oh, he didn't place any gems until he went over east.
Correct. He went 4, 1, 3. 1 was in Valley of Death, correct? Because that was the one he did
that was
second.
6. 6 was in Valley of Death.
6. Okay, so it was 4, 6, 1. Then he went back west, got 2 and 5, forgot where 3 was for a while, then finished off 3 and ventured back east into the Great Palace.
So he was the first one to find the glove by a long shot.
I think he was. Yeah. But not by a long shot. Because he made it east after you did Trails.
Yeah, Trails, you were the front runner for a good, if not all, of the race. I would say even early on, maybe 15 minutes in, you had obtained a significant lead. If for no other reason than I believe at that point, you had finished Palace 5.
Oh, that's cool. I gotta watch this back. I remember I got the any key. It must have been 25 or 30 minutes in, and I was a little worried because I felt like people could have possibly jumped into Death Mountain and found it quicker because of how easy it was to find. It was literally, if you took the very first cave, it took you right to the area that had the. So I gotta be honest. I felt very behind the whole race.
Yeah, I think everyone kind of, with this particular race, it kind of felt like it would be a bit hard to predict correctly where everyone else was. Like, if I were in any one of your shoes, I don't think I would have a very easy time, predicting where everyone was at that particular time. If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, I did the whole Death Mountain round. I went through all of the caves, or I was in all of the little areas that had caves in it. And then when I went through that final cave and I opened up in that area with only one cave, I basically knew that was because I'd been in all up and down the coast. I've been in the northeast, the southeast, the northwest, and the southwest quadrants, and I had seen like the clusters of caves that you pop out in. Like I had been through all that, and I wasn't able to find it. So when I found that one little area, that little patch that had just one other cave in it, I was certain that that was going to be it.
Well, you found it eventually, so.
Yeah, I found it, and then when I did, I was just like, "Ooh, let's beat this game as fast as possible." But hey, I'm gonna jump off here because I have to go to work here very shortly. But thanks for doing the commentary, guys. Thanks Johnny Game Show 56 for doing the tracking, and thanks Speed Gaming as always for helping with the restream, Mr. Broadstone particularly. You guys have a good night.
Yeah,
And
thank you very
GG,
much, guys.
GG Victor.
GG Trails.
All right, I think that's a good time to bring this to a close. I'd like to thank all the people watching us and listening to us and putting up with our voices and obnoxiousness. and Jinxie Girl and Johnny Game Show for the tracking, and of course, let's see. Oh, I closed it. Oh yeah, Mr. Broadstone, that was it. Sorry. Mr. Broadstone for coming in and getting us taken care of right after work. I really appreciate that. And I guess that's all I've got to thank. Anyone I'm missing? Oh, you. Thank you.
I was going to say you got everybody else, and I'm like, oh, what am I, just chopped liver here? But, yeah, I think you pretty much got everybody, so I think all that's left to say is have a good night, everybody.
Yep, indeed. Have a good night. May Zelda 2s be ever in your favor, or something.
May the Zelda 2 be with you.
There you go. That's better.